They'll tell you this video is dangerous. They're right, because what you're about to hear won't just shake your beliefs. It'll dismantle the very life you thought you were building. Every heartbreak you mistook as your fault. Every betrayal that left you gasping for closure. Every time you blamed your softness, when the truth was, you were being fed a lie. Schopenhauer didn't stumble onto these truths. He carved them out with the surgical cruelty of someone who refused to be fooled by fairy tales. Close your eyes. Picture a man, young, full of fire. Let's call him Noah. He does what they all tell him to do. He loves with his whole chest. He builds a future with someone who promised forever. He sacrifices, he provides, he commits. And one day, he wakes up divorced, broke, hollow, emotionally bankrupt, financially decimated, legally erased from the very life he built. Sound like someone you know? Or maybe it sounds a little too much like you. This isn't a rare tragedy. This is a system, and Schopenhauer saw it coming. 2 centuries ago, he called it not love, but illusion, a trick, biology dressed in poetry, hormones disguised as fate, the butterflies, the obsession, the desire to build and protect. It's nature's scam, all to get you to reproduce before you realize the cost. But modern society didn't just inherit this lie, it weaponized it. You were taught to see women as salvation. You were taught to believe love would complete you. You were trained, like a loyal dog, to worship something designed to extract your essence. And when you dared to question it, they called you bitter, misogynistic, emotionally unavailable. But what if the real sickness wasn't in your doubts, but in the dream itself? What if Schopenhauer was right all along? A system that was never meant to love you. In his work, Metaphysics of Love, Schopenhauer stripped romance to its bones. No roses, no sonnets, just survival. He argued that love, the kind we glorify in films and tattoos, was never about connection. It was about continuation of the species, of the bloodline. Your heartbreak wasn't a tragedy. It was a side effect, collateral damage in nature's plan to reproduce. The euphoria you felt, that was dopamine. The poetry you wrote, that was instinct dressed up in delusion. But here's where it gets worse. The illusion evolved, not into something more beautiful, but into something far more cruel. Modern society didn't just buy into the lie, it learned how to monetize it. Schopenhauer warned that as women gained social power, a radical idea back then, the dynamic of love would morph, not into partnership, but into a transaction. Duty turned into leverage. Devotion became currency, and love became a game only one side was allowed to win. He wrote, "Women are directly adapted to act as the nurses and teachers of our childhood precisely because they themselves are childish, frivolous, and short-sighted." Before you flinch, ask yourself, are we allowed to say uncomfortable truths anymore? Or have we confused censorship for civility? In 1850, a divorced man could lose everything. His children, his assets, his name, his wife. She faced no consequence. Today, 80% of divorces are initiated by women, and the outcome hasn't changed. Take Friedrich, a 19th century German merchant, married a woman of good standing. She secretly funneled his money to her lover's business. When he tried to leave, the court sided with her, claimed she was fragile, emotional, in need of support. Friedrich died penniless in a workhouse. Now replace 1850s Germany with your local courthouse. What's changed? Today, love is still the pitch, but loss is the product. And Schopenhauer saw this not as a failure of the system, but as its design. A man's happiness is to do what he wills. A woman's happiness is to will what he does. You weren't born into equality. You were born into redistribution. And the thing they've been redistributing? Your labor, your loyalty, your life force. Not to build a home, but to sustain a machine. This isn't a video about women. It's a warning about illusions, because until you see through the dream, you'll keep waking up in someone else's nightmare. And if this content is making sense to you, then click the subscribe button and subscribe to the channel. Thank you for your support. The velvet glove and the iron fist. So if biology was the blueprint, and culture was the cover story, then psychology, that was the velvet glove. A soft weapon, disguised as healing, sold to you as self-awareness, but designed to reshape you into something more manageable. Consider the rise of emotional labor. What began as a feminist critique of unpaid domestic work was swiftly rebranded, not to free women from burdens, but to place new ones on men. Now you're told to open up, be vulnerable, share your feelings, cry, unmask, bleed on command. But Schopenhauer whispered a darker truth. Women despise weakness in men, and now we have proof. A 2019 study published in Social, Psychological and Personality Science confirmed it. When men express vulnerability, especially sadness or fear, women find them less attractive, less competent, less desirable as partners. They called it the weakness penalty. Schopenhauer called it nature. Meet Oliver, 28, software engineer, loving, loyal, committed. His girlfriend begged him to open up. So one night, after a few drinks and a wave of trust, he told her about his childhood, the bullying, the loneliness, the nights he cried into his pillow, praying for someone to just stay. She held him, said, "I love you." 2 weeks later, she left. Her reason? "I just don't see you as strong anymore. This isn't a glitch in the system. It is the system. Because vulnerability without reciprocity isn't intimacy, it's exposure." Schopenhauer warned, a man's love is sacrificial, a woman's love is conditional, and sacrifice, when demanded but never returned, is just a beautiful form of slavery. If psychology is the velvet glove, then the law, it's the iron fist. Let's talk about no-fault divorce, brought in during the 1970s under the banner of gender equality. But what did it really do? It gave one side the power to exit, without cause, without accountability, while keeping the benefits. Today, an 80% of divorces are initiated by women. When women earn more, divorce rates skyrocket. Men lose half their assets, and 80% of custody cases. Equality or execution. Take Robert, a Florida surgeon, married his college sweetheart, worked 80-hour weeks for their dream. At 45, she said, "I'm not happy." No cheating, no abuse, just dissatisfaction. The court gave her the house, half his retirement, and $4,000 a month for life. Robert now lives in a studio, still operating at 62. Not because he loves the work, but because he can't afford to stop. Schopenhauer didn't call this a tragedy, he called it a trap. Marriage is a trap set by nature and perfected by society. And still, you're told you're the villain, the danger, the disposable. But when systems are designed to punish you, and then blame you for bleeding, that's not partnership, that's predation, the marketplace of illusions. Enter social media, the illusion machine, the marketplace where validation is currency and dignity is the price of admission. Instagram, TikTok, Tinder, they don't connect people, they auction them. Women display, men pursue. Likes become leverage, comments become competition. Schopenhauer didn't live to see the internet, but he predicted its effects. The more choices a woman has, the less capable she is of love. That wasn't cynicism, it was a warning, and now we're living it. Meet Jake, Trioctivende, college student, earnest, hopeful. He matches with a girl on Tinder. They talk for weeks. He plans dates, saves money, invests time. 3 expensive dinners later, she disappears. No message, no closure, just silence. A month goes by. Jake sees her Instagram. She's in Bali, with a man twice his age, luxury hotel, private pool. Caption reads, "Know your worth, queens." And Jake? He's back in his dorm, checking his phone, wondering what he did wrong. But it wasn't him. It was the system. Because dating apps don't reward depth, they reward dopamine. And attention is addictive, especially when it's free. This is the paradox of choice. The more options someone has, and the less they value each one. Modern women are drowning in options. Modern men are starving for affection. And that imbalance, it makes men disposable. But the greatest trick? It's not in the courts, not on Instagram, not even in the culture. It's in your mind. You've been trained to worship your own chains. You still believe love will save you, that being a good man will protect you, that if you try hard enough, she'll stay, she'll choose you, she'll love you for who you are. Schopenhauer ripped that illusion apart. The first 40 years of life give us the text, the next 30, the commentary. But most men, they never live long enough to understand the story they were in. Every 30 seconds, a man takes his own life. 75% of all suicides, male. Divorced men, 8 times more likely to die by suicide than their married counterparts. This isn't coincidence, it's conditioning. Meet Marcus, 32, engineer, hard-working, loyal, quiet. His wife leaves him, takes their daughter. Family court grants him 2 visits a month. Unless he increases child support. 6 months later, he jumps off a building. His final search history: how to disappear without debt collectors finding you. And society shrugs, moves on, blames him. Because when men die, there's no vigil, no documentary, no hashtag justice for Marcus, just silence. Schopenhauer called it the will turned against itself. When a man begins to believe that his pain is his fault, he becomes the perfect slave. Quiet, exhausted, obedient. You think you're chasing love, but really, you've been running in a maze, built by systems that were never meant to let you win. So now, what do? The way out. There is a way out, but it's not where you've been told to look. Not in another relationship, not in a therapist's office, not in another self-help book telling you to man up or heal your feminine side. Schopenhauer never believed in false hope. He believed in clarity, in facing reality, no matter how brutal, until it breaks you open, not down. And his answer wasn't romance, wasn't revenge, it was release, the complete denial of the illusion. To live alone is the fate of all great souls. Arthur Schopenhauer. This isn't about hating women, it's about reclaiming your sovereignty. It's about deprogramming yourself from the fantasy you were fed since birth, that if you're just good enough, nice enough, providing enough, vulnerable enough, masculine enough, she'll love you, and you'll be saved. But salvation doesn't come through her, it comes through detachment. Step 1, deny the lie. Delete the apps. Stop performing. Refuse to entertain the fantasy. Opt out of the game that was never designed for you to win. Marriage? Legalized servitude, dating apps, digital meat markets, therapy culture, a rebranding of guilt for profit. Don't heal to be chosen, heal to be free. Step 2, weaponize your suffering. Your pain isn't weakness, it's raw material. Everything great ever built by a man, art, innovation, empires, they all rose from pain. Beethoven wrote his greatest works after going deaf. Van Gogh revolutionized art after selling just one painting in his life. Nietzsche endured chronic illness and soul-wrenching solitude to produce philosophy that shook the world. Pain doesn't destroy you, your reaction to pain does. So, react like a god. Transmute it. Let it forge you, not into a better man, but into a freer one. Step 3, play the long game. Society glorifies female youth, but it rewards male maturity. A woman's peak leverage is 20 to 30. A man's 35 to 55. That's not a judgment. It's biology, psychology, economics. Schopenhauer said, "Time humbles women, it elevates men, if they survive, and that's the catch, if they survive." You can't give up in your 20s. You can't self-destruct because she ghosted you. You can't throw your soul away because she said you weren't emotionally available. Let her chase the dopamine. You chase dominion. Let her age with regrets. You age with results. Meet Hiroto, Japanese, fired at 40, depressed, divorced. He could have quit. He didn't. Instead, he spent 5 years mastering AI coding. At 50, he got hired by a Silicon Valley startup, making triple his old salary. His ex-wife, the one who left him for not being ambitious enough, now works in retail. His secret? I stopped living on their clock. And this is the deeper truth. You were never broken. You were just programmed to self-destruct. Schopenhauer's most haunting insight wasn't about women. It wasn't even about suffering. It was about how men die inside long before they die outside. Most men would rather die than think, and that's exactly what they're doing. But if you're still here, still reading, still feeling something awaken inside of you, then you're not like most men. You're remembering. So breathe. And remember, you are not disposable. Your love is not weakness. Your suffering is not your fault. Your silence is not your salvation. It's your power. You want revenge? Live, thrive, withdraw your energy, and never apologize for seeing the truth. If this resonated, take a moment to subscribe. Drop a comment below, not for the algorithm, but to mark this chapter in your journey. If you made it this far, you're not just watching, you're remembering, returning, reclaiming your inner ground. So trust that the video YouTube shows you next, the one appearing now, is not random. It's the next doorway, the next layer, and it will meet you exactly where you are. We'll see you in the next depth. Depthoria continues.